Alrighty, people. How we doing? How we living? How we feeling? It's midweek. All right. In America, it is hump day, which is
You
Wednesday.
got a hump.
For us, it's
Yep.
Thursday. We appreciate y'all for being here with us. Lots to get to. We're going to answer as many fantasy questions as we can today. And we'll obviously update with news, notes, injuries, any type of thing like that before we get started. If you do want to prioritize your question, very simple. All you got to do is check out the pinned comment. I'll put a link in the chat for you as well right here. But we appreciate y'all for being here with us. We're getting closer and closer to fantasy playoffs, so these weeks mean a lot. You know, I mean, even for myself in the Flock League, I'm trying to secure that bye week. You know, Badaki, we're trying to get into the playoffs, trying to get both of us in there. You know, these decisions have consequences now. They really do.
No question. I mean, every move is going to be crucial on who you start, who you pick up, what defense you have, you know, what kick you have, depending on your league, of course. But yeah, it's huge week.
All right, we appreciate y'all for being here with us. Let's go to news first, and then we'll just get a little update on, you know, on the whole injury side of this, and then we'll go to the website. Like we always say, if you guys do want to prioritize your question, the website is the best place to do that. I'll put a link in the chat again for you. It's already pinned in the comment on the chat. But these people have said, you know what, I want to prioritize my question. Anytime we go live, any questions to the site, if there are any, it's where we will start the stream. After that, we will go to the YouTube chat and any super chats or whatever the case may be. We appreciate y'all for being here with us. All right, Jordan Addison not listed on the injury report. He left last week's game with an injury, but it looks like he's going to be good to go for week 12. So if you need him, I know a lot of people probably do because of Mageddon, then that's a great sign. Tajay Spears, I don't think he plays this week. Left with a concussion last week. Jake Ferguson doesn't practice Wednesday. The replacement here, if you need a absolute desperation, would be Luke Schoonmaker. I wouldn't suggest it, but that would be your replacement. Isaiah Pacheco remains limited in practice. We'll find out if he's going to play or not, probably in the next couple days. George Kittle will play in Week 12, which would be a huge boost for a lot of you who have George Kittle on your roster. Sam Laporta is practicing in full, so he'll be back this week after missing 1 week. Apparently, 49ers don't have any concerns around Brock Purdy's status for Week 12, so they will expect him to be full go. Madison and Zamir White both not practicing Wednesday. I don't care who the starting running back is for the Raiders. I'm not playing any of them. It's just not going to happen. Marshawn Lloyd to be placed on the NFI list. If you could draw up a game plan of how to have the worst possible time as a rookie, then Marshawn Lloyd would have drawn it up. I mean, got injured in camp, then got injured again. Got injured again in season as well with the hamstrings and different injuries, and now he's got appendicitis. It's like you couldn't have dreamt up a worse start. I feel bad for the guy because he's so talented, but just can't get on the freaking field. It's almost Kendre Miller.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. But what did Drew Lock say here? I don't actually know what he said here about Tommy DeVito starting. Was he surprised?
They just asked him basically like, "Oh, are you upset that you're not the starter?" And he was like, "Yeah, of course. I'm competitive. Blah blah blah." Yeah. But how they're gonna support Tommy? They're gonna try and get wins. Blah blah blah. That's all it is.
Okay. Panthers have high hopes. Jonathan Brooks plays this week. Adam Thielen will be back. Mike Evans will play in Week 12, which is what we predicted. He was also featured on today's nuclear video. Excited to see him back. DeAndre Swift is not practicing with a groin injury, which is news, right? Like, that is not something that we knew was going on. So there is potential for him to miss this week. We'll have to keep that monitored. And then head coach Andy Reid asked about Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. Basically says, we'll find a way. Both are good players. We'll find a way to have them both in. It's a good problem to have. You know, funnily enough, with respect to Kareem Hunt, really cool story, but he's been one of the worst running backs on a per touch basis in the NFL. It's not even close. Like, if you look at running backs who have 80 attempts or more since he played, I think week 4 or 5 onwards, he is last in so many metrics, like yards after contact per attempt, yards per carry, PFF run grade. Like, he is simply a volume play. He gets opportunities on the goal line. So the reason I bring this up is because someone commented on yesterday's video and said, like, I still think that Kareem Hunt's going to be the guy. He's going to be really good. He's been great. I'm like, yeah, us as fantasy players probably feel that way because he's been good for fantasy football. But as a football player, he's been the definition of mediocre. He wouldn't start on any of the other 31 teams, including the Cowboys. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Again, if you can sell Kareem Hunt for something, I would really suggest to do so. I think that's pretty much it for today. Let's get to these questions, yeah?
Yeah, appreciate you guys. We're going to start off with the questions on the website here. And the first one I can see here is from Matt Bear. I'm just going to pull up here. Matt Bear with a sit question. He says, I appreciate y'all. I was 2-5 before I started following, and now I'm 6-5 fighting for the players. That's all. I'm glad that we can help you there. All right, so Josh Allen is definitely on the bye. You start Baker Mayfield against the Giants at the running back position. You start Tyrone Tracy, and I would be going, Connor. You got to go Rashad White. No, James Conner's on a bye, no?
No, he's back from a bye. Chase Brown's on the bye.
Back from a bye. Dude, the byes are crazy.
Yeah, the byes are crazy right now.
So Chase Brown, James Conner on a bye, or not on a bye. Chase Brown on a bye. And then you start Tyrone Tracy at the RB2. I would over Rashad White. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, no, I'm on the same page. At wide receiver here, you've got so many good options. You can't sit Justin Jefferson. And then after that, I mean, this really is kind of a crapshoot. And I think in your flex, I guess you could also choose between Rashad White. Oh my gosh, you have so many good options. Again, this is the problem with a league that is 18. But if I look at these options, I've got Courtland Sutton as my wide receiver 14 versus the Raiders. I've got Pickens as my wide receiver 9, but the weather could be a problem. I want to just double check on this because I've heard from multiple people that there could be snow. Yeah, there could be snow at Cleveland. If it is a snowing game, and more importantly, if it's snowing and the wind is a problem, because snow itself, it could be snowing and, it's not too heavy. That's not a real problem. But if it's snowing and the wind is huge, then you might want to avoid offensive options in this game. And something to keep in mind is this is, I think, one of the lowest. This is the lowest over under in, I think, this year. I think the line just moved with FanDuel down to like 35.5 or something. I heard the footballers talking about this today. The Steelers have the lowest implied team point total of a favorite in the last decade or something. Not a lot of points are expected to be scored here. So if that weather keeps up, we will have to readjust expectations for a name like George Pickens. So he would go from like a top 10 play to like top 20 maybe. So if that weather is a problem, I am going to go ahead and lean, I think it's Sutton or Jennings for me here. And then
for me, go ahead.
And then at the flex, I'll just play the other. So I'll play Jennings along with Sutton. CD's a fine option. He'd be in the same tier as Jawan Jennings. But Washington, if they get Marshawn Lattimore back, I think this is going to be a rough time.
What is happening with that, though?
Well, I'll double check on it. Let me see.
But look, because the only reason why I asked is because, I mean, I guess CD had a tough matchup technically with Stingley, and then I forgot the other guys.
You can throw on the Texans. You can't run on them, though. And this Washington defense has gotten a lot better. I mean, we're just a week removed from the Eagles receivers disappointing, right? And they had their quarterback. Let me double check. But even without Marshawn, this defense has been much improved, similar to the Eagles. Let's see.
For me, I would still go CD over. I don't know if I'll go over Jawan. It's just tough with the options. I would go CD over Sutton.
Okay.
Personally, so I would want to start Jawan Jennings this week. I think that should be a decent game against the Packers. So that's where I would go.
I would say if there's no Marshawn Lattimore, I'll start. I would start CD over Jennings. I'd still start Sutton. They're just on such a hot streak right now, but it's close. Yeah, you have, again, we're going to say the same thing we always say when we review this team, I think, which is try to consolidate.
Yeah. Yeah,
Package a CD
100%.
Lamb and a Juwan Jennings and go get a top 5 name. Package any combination of these players, Pickens and Sutton. Package Tyrone and Rashad and Pickens and go, you got to consolidate if you can, or at least try.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Matt. Thanks for the donation.
Thank you so much. Benjamin is next. He says, has a trade question. He says, good trade for playoffs in mind. 6-man PPR. I'm 9-4 or 9-2, excuse me. So Bijan Robinson, Debo Samuel, and you receive Saquon Barkley and Terry McLaurin there in a 6-man league. Your starting lineup already is Josh Allen, Jahmyr Gibbs. You send away Bijan, you get Saquon. Does this help? I mean, yeah, I'm okay with this.
Yeah, is
think
it really
Terry's
a 16 league though? It is. Wow.
If it's the right Saquon and Bijan, you can say is an upgrade, or someone would say was even. I think Terry is a big upgrade from Debo and CD right now. So
He might be. I mean, if you're in a start 7 league, are you okay, so you're focused on Saquon here, right? Who has a better schedule in the playoffs though? That's what I want to know between Saquon and
I think Saquon does have a favorable playoff schedule. He has Pittsburgh, well, I guess that's a tough one, Washington and Dallas.
Washington's rush defense has been better, but in championship week, Dallas is one of the better matchups you can have, so that's good.
And then Bijan, who has been phenomenal so far, he has Vegas, Giants, and then Washington.
That's a pretty good schedule. I probably prefer that schedule myself, but it's not enough to make a decision. So look, you're going to start 7. So if you receive Saquon, you're going to start Allen, Saquon, Gibbs, I guess, holy hell. Then Chase and Evans or Terry. And then at the flex spot, you could put Evans or Terry and or a Jacobs or a Tyrone or a James Cook.
Yeah.
This is funny. I mean, there's no way for us to really tell you who's going to score more points between these two sides because they're all such similar options. I would just say I guess I prefer Saquon Barkley overall as the most valuable player in this deal. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah, exactly. Appreciate you, Benjamin. Thank you so much. Next one we have here is a trade question from Dak22. He says, do I trust matchup when Neighbors or quarterback with Evans? He needs running back this week because of a bye week. Should I propose it? So you're sending away Tyrone, Tracy, and Mike Evans and receiving Martin Harrison Jr. and Malik Neighbors. This is a 10-team start 7. So if you were to give away Tracy, who are your running backs? You have CMC and Devon. And then your wide receivers are Amon-Ra, Nico, now Morrison, and Malik.
I just don't think you need to do this, quite frankly. Like, you probably need more of like a third running back as insurance in case one of these other guys goes down. Because if Achane goes down, what are you gonna do? You're gonna stream the position now because you have no Tyrone Tracy. But if let's say if you keep Mike Evans and Nico Collins goes down, okay, fine. It's a start 7. I can still start Mike Evans and Amon-Ra, and I can find a flex. But I love Malik Neighbors still rest of season. But I think when you look at Tracy and Marvin, I think we should value them similarly in an overall rankings perspective rest of season. And you need more help at running back depth. So I don't love this deal personally.
Yeah, I'm there with you.
Yeah, we'll keep your side there. Dak, appreciate you, man. Next one's a super message on the site. If you guys want to prioritize your question, you can do that through our website. When we're done on the website, we will come over to YouTube and answer your questions in the chat. But of course, it's the best way to prioritize any questions that you have. We appreciate y'all for being here with us. Do us a favor, hit that like button to show some love. Got a like goal today of 50 likes. With your help, I think we can get there. Take us to our next question.
Yeah, Daniel 007, he says, gents, Mark Andrews or Dallas Goedert?
It's a good question.
Andrews has been picking it up in the past couple of weeks. I mean, I know he didn't have the best week last week. And so has Dallas. Obviously, he's came back from that injury, and he's been part of the offense just a little bit. I mean, he's been scoring touchdown, if I'm not mistaken, not last week, but the week before.
I wanted to do a little experiment here and see how much he's actually averaging per game when he stays healthy. He's been healthy for 6 games, and he's averaging about 12.6 fantasy points per game, which you would be thrilled to have that in your lineup. Mark Andrews, it's more about like what game excites you the most. Dallas versus, Dallas Goedert versus the Rams. Mark Andrews versus the Chargers. They're both actually fun games. I'd rather be in the Chargers game, to be honest. I'd rather be in that matchup where I think there could be a lot of points in both of these games. But I guess the last differentiator here is schedule. Let me just see who is the better matchup. The Rams are a good matchup, and the Chargers are a terrible matchup. So maybe you lean Dallas there based off of that. Rams are a top 8 matchup, and the Chargers are a bottom 4 matchup for tight ends. So that could be your decision maker there.
This is going to be the horrible bowl, kind of, if you think about it. On Monday Night Football, the brothers going back against each other, I think, since the Super Bowl. I forgot what year that was, 2015 or 14 or something.
Wasn't that when the lights turned off randomly for like
that was a lights game. Yeah,
we were
100%.
like, what is going on?
I feel like the narrative might be better in the Mark Andrews one. I think you said that, but
yeah, I did. Yeah,
I would go Mark Andrews here as well. I think that should be a fun game on Monday night.
This is one of those ones that's so close you might flip a coin on it. Matchup says Goddard, narrative says Andrews. All right, Chef Porg here with the question. It looks like a dynasty question here. Full rebuild team. His second is projected late. You'd be sending away. Oh yeah. Give me Rashee Rice here. Yeah. I didn't even see Rashee Rice. I love JSN, but I would still have Rashee Rice over JSN in dynasty in general. So, yeah, absolutely. If I can get Rashee Rice and a second, I mean, I might pay a second and Rashee Rice, or I might pay a second and JSN to get Rashee Rice. So, yeah. And Chef is in the building. He says that 2026 is supposed to be a 2025 second. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Regardless, no matter what year, I think I'll still do this trade for Rashee Rice.
Yeah. I think it's so obvious that he's the future of this team. Like, watching this team play football without him, do you know what I mean? Before with him and now without him. I think if you bet on Rashee Rice in Dynasty, you should feel great about that. Clearly, I'm biased because I did so too. He was like my clearest buy in Dynasty, but I feel like he's the future. Like, you can't watch this team and be like, yeah, they're just as good without him. No, like, Xavier Worthy, you're not that guy, pal. Rashee Rice was that guy, pal. You know? Yeah, I like it.
I understand. Love the trade. Thank you so much there, Chef. Appreciate you. The next one we do have is another super message from King Serve 88. He says, Alton, Goddard, or Smith at tight end this week. Love you. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Sheesh, that's a toughie.
For me, this would be...
As in Jonnu?
Right. Jonnu Smith. Look,
really?
It sounds crazy. No, I wouldn't say Jonnu. I'm saying I would go Cade Alton, but I know Jonnu just had a crazy game. I'm just not relying on that again, personally.
I think he goes from the number 1 to the number 2 option. I would still start Alton here pretty comfortably.
Yeah.
Until proven otherwise. So I think what you meant to say is that Jonnu had a big game, but you're not relying on it because you said Alton. So that might be a little confusing to the guy who submitted this question. Is that what you meant, or did I misread it?
Sorry, say that again.
So you said you would go with Alton, and then you proceeded to say that you don't trust him after one big game. I'm assuming you meant to say Jonnu.
No. Yeah, that was Jonnu because Jonnu had like that 20-something point game.
Yeah, okay. I assumed that's what you meant to say, but I just want to make sure for this guy who's watching it. So,
okay, sure, sorry.
We're on the same page, basically, yeah. Don't trust Jonnu after that game. Still think Waddle can have big games, and Tyreek and HN. Just too many options to rely on him weekly. He'd be my last option here of these three, and Alton, I think, is still a great play. Even with Evans. Evans is obviously going to impact him. There's no way around that. You know, we can't lie here and say Evans isn't going to hurt Alton. It will. But he still is that number 2 option in that offense, and that's very enticing to me. So we'll go Cade Alton. All right.
Completely agree.
I think those are all the questions through the website for now. Again, if you guys want to prioritize your question, oh, and there is one more, my bad, then you can go through the link that I just put in the chat to our website. It'll take you to a link that looks like this. Let me copy it for you so you all can see. It'll look like this, and it'll give you the option to submit a team review, a trade question, a start sit, or a super message. So these are all options for you. I will say as well, if you don't have a free account on the Flock Fantasy just yet, go get one with our promo code LAND. Again, when you sign up with the promo code LAND, L-A-N-D, you're going to get a couple things for free on the website, like the My Teams feature where you can link up a team from Sleeper, ESPN, or Yahoo and kind of see where you rank amongst the rest of your league. And even break down each position, look at the best waiver wire options. You get the expert consensus rankings, the trade calculator, etc. just by using our promo code LAND. And then when you link up your team, it is so easy to go and ask a question through the site. Automatically import your settings. But let's do Saul Bruin's question here. It's a start sit. They've got Hurts. They are debating between Pacheco and Hunt. Wow, that is a terrible situation to be in. Because you know why this is so annoying? If you had Kareem Hunt, like, please, just one more week, Pacheco. Like, this is the best matchup in fantasy against the Panthers. Can you please give me one more week as a Kareem Hunt owner? That's what I would be saying. But if Pacheco plays, it muddies the water. Like, what if he gets 10 carries now, and that's it, and Pacheco gets 10?
I think that's the thing, you know. I think you just have to go with the one that you know is going to be the healthiest. I don't think Pacheco's going to come in and be the automatic guy. I think maybe Pacheco comes in, play 30% of the snaps. Maybe he does get 8 to 10 carries, but I don't think they're going to be valuable carries. Does he get a carry on the goal line? Maybe. But I think Kareem Hunt is still going to be the guy this week, unless there's a report that comes out and says Isaiah Pacheco's full go, which we have seen in the past before.
And we've seen that be true, and we've seen it be a lie.
Exactly, be a lie. So it's just a little bit hard to really confirm here. But I think from my perspective, I would start Kareem Hunt with the understanding that I don't believe Pacheco is going to be full go. But if that is the case, then close your eyes and just pray that you start the right one.
My feeling is that it will take a couple weeks for Pacheco to take this backfield back entirely, right? I stand by what I said. I don't think Kareem Hunt's been good. I think he's been serviceable, and he's been great for fantasy, but as a real NFL player, he's not been good, but he's been what they needed him to be. I believe that if Pacheco's back, Hunt will still lead the way, but in a couple weeks that will change, and Pacheco will be the guy again. But again, we have to stay tuned to any reports. And we'll constantly update you guys throughout the week on our live streams. But yeah, again, you got to stay tuned to these reports. You know, a report comes out Saturday night and it says Pacheco expected to be full go, no limitations. Well, clearly we're going to go Isaiah Pacheco here then, right? But report comes out, Pacheco's on a snap count. Okay, that's going to give you the confidence to go ahead and put Kareem Hunt in there. Clearly, we can't really predict exactly how this is going to pan out. But the good news is, at minimum, that it is a very good matchup, the best matchup you could have asked for. So hopefully whoever you put in there gets enough action to at least give you a win. But we appreciate you, Saul Bruin. That is a tough one. Honestly, I believe that is the toughest question to answer in fantasy this week. I truly do.
It's gonna be a tough one, and I hope it works out for you. I just hope that he doesn't play. Yeah. Give himself another week here.
Why do you hope he doesn't play? For personal reasons, or just like to make it clear?
Just
okay. I didn't know if you had like Kareem Hunt.
I don't have Kareem Hunt or anything. So I don't have Pacheco. I didn't draft either of those guys or pick up Kareem off waiver. So.
All right. Next one here is a trade question from a Capide 94. They say I have is Kyron, Mont, CD, Nico, Metcalf, Mondre on the bench, but I have a way worse bench with Rico. Okay, so they would be sending away Stevenson and CD, getting Rico and Jefferson. So obviously the big upgrade here is Justin Jefferson long term. We don't know what the rest of their team looks like. Just so you guys know, when you submit one of these trade questions, if you already have your team linked through the My Team feature, it'll help us see your entire team and the other person's team, right? So for example, if I have my team linked here like I do for the Flock League, and then I go to our website, and I start to submit a question, then the good news about that is it'll let us see both your team and the other person's team. So you see trade question here, your team is already linked with all of its settings, and then you go in and let's say I add a player I know I have, a Derrick Henry, and just as an example, whatever, right? Hit continue. That is going to make it much easier for us to actually understand both your team and what the other person has. It helps us create counters and just so you guys know, right? For the future.
Yeah.
But overall, with the information we have, they say they have Kyren, Montgomery, CD, Nico, Metcalf. The Ramondre's on their bench, but I'd have a way worse bench with Rico is what they're saying if Rico was now replacing Ramondre.
Yeah. What? This is a 12 team.
A Jefferson, Nico, Metcalf combo is deadly. But if Kyren or Monty were to go down and you'd have to start Rico in the playoffs, that would be not fun. Have we looked at CD's schedule in the playoffs?
CD has an interesting playoff schedule: Carolina, Tampa Bay, and then Philly. So last time he played against Philly, he was kind of locked down. He does have an interesting one with Carolina, and I guess Tampa Bay could be interesting.
Love week 15 and 16, by the way.
I think this is worth the risk. And I think you should go out and try and get on the low a Jalen Warren, an Austin Eckler, hell, a Javonte Williams, Alexander Madison. Like, I'm willing to do this trade and see if I can go get something else done.
I don't trust Madison anymore.
And that's fair, but I feel like,
you know what's crazy about that situation? If you look in the last since week 9, because it looked like Madison was their guy, right? We were like, oh, okay, Madison's their guy. If you look from week 9 onwards, guess who has the most usage on this team?
Probably I have no idea.
Amir Abdullah. Amir Abdullah is the highest used running back on the Raiders from week 9 onwards. It's disgusting. But I agree with everything else you're saying, by the way. I agree. I just wanted to say that particular player. Here's the thing. If I knew Cooper Rush would be the starter for the rest of the season, I'd probably just keep CeeDee Lamb and ride it out. But I think there's a real shot they let Trey Lance play. And it's probably towards the end of the year when you're in the fantasy playoffs. Like, they lose the next couple games. Why are we starting Cooper Rush? Let's see what Trey Lance has. And then in week 15, Trey Lance takes over. And this beautiful matchups that you thought you had, you're like, shit, like, I can't rely on this. It's like Anthony Richardson, but maybe worse. So I think I'm going to take this trade, get Justin Jefferson, and like you said, find a different running back 3.
Just find somebody else. I mean, I'm pretty sure just to pick up somebody, pick up a Justice Hill. Jerome Ford was getting some work. I don't know if Antonio Gibson's on the waiver wires. Like, look, these guys aren't going to save your season or save you if one of those guys goes down, but at least you have somebody else just in case. Because Rico Dowdle is just putting out the same amount of production that the guys that I just named, and he's getting a full workload. I would do it.
And those matchups really favor Rico, to be fair. Like, honestly, even if Trey Lance started, would you not start Rico over CeeDee Lamb if in week 15, it's Trey Lance starting, but Rico's a clear RB1 on that team versus the Panthers? I think I even start Rico there, so I don't mind this. So, yeah, overall, I'll take the Jefferson side of this. I think you get the best player. There is some risk there you have to acknowledge, but I'm fine with the risk taking on it. Yeah. So, all right, CTESPN. So we've got Antonio Brown in the chat.
CTESPN, my goodness.
You seen that?
Yeah.
All right, so, I saw a really sad video the other day. Do you know, like, someone said, so what do you remember about your football career to Antonio Brown? He said, I don't remember anything. He actually said that. I don't know if he's, like, being truthful or a hyperbole, like, using hyperbole, but, like,
there's parts of me that, like, I know he has CTE, but I think, like,
he embraces it for
he embraces it and just brand. To like have some sort of clickbait or something. Like,
sure,
it's sad that he has it, but it's like, don't, like, that's like saying, oh yeah, I have cancer, Abba.
Okay,
And then
yikes,
and then
yikes, yikes.
going crazy. Like that's not like it's just not cool, you know?
Well, there's
Like
also a good chance though, Badaki, that he actually doesn't remember anything since that
Sure.
Vontez perfect hit on him. But yeah, who are we to judge? I'd start Bo Nix over Matthew Stafford this week. Love Bo Nix versus the Raiders. Hate Stafford versus the Eagles. At running back, I don't hate Stafford. I still think he's a fine play, but I just prefer Bo. At running back, you're starting Josh Jacobs, obviously.
And then it's between Pacheco and Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb on Thursday night against the Steelers, which I don't want to play. So I guess you have to hope that Isaiah Pacheco is going to get some sort of workload.
Might not play either, though.
Does he have other options here? Let's just see in the flex. No. So Nick Chubb might have to be the play here. You have to hope and pray that there's some sort of report that Isaiah Pacheco is going to play.
Yeah. If a report comes out that he is going to play, I'd risk Pacheco. But if that report doesn't come out, you're going to have to go Kareem Hunt, and you'll hear that when you watch this review. Wide receiver here. We're choosing between a lot of great names. Would you not just start both the Niners?
Both the 49ers. I would. You start Trey McBride, excuse me. And then you are left with Josh Downs.
Yeah, Thomas is
against
on
the
bye.
Lions.
Could be D-Hop, but I'll go Downs with you as well.
Yeah, I don't like the narrative for D-Hop in a game like this. Or maybe they just torch him through the air and not the ground.
Could be.
Well,
by the way, for a 14-team start 7, this is a pretty good lineup, so you should feel proud of that for sure. All right, I think we might have one more on the site, do we?
Yeah, I think we have 2 more actually now.
Okay,
appreciate you guys submitting your questions and trade stuff. We appreciate you. Hayden is next. Hayden W. Dodge. He says, should I start Andrews or Ertz?
Ooh.
I'm still going Andrew.
It's so funny that when you open up Zach Ertz and it says tight end 7, you're like, whoa, that's kind of shocking. Tight end 7, Zach Ertz. I think this is the reality of the situation. Zach Ertz is a safer floor. That's just the reality. Mark Andrews is the upside play. And if you need to win and you want to, you want to put some upside in the roster, that's going to be Mark Andrews. He has a much better shot at a touchdown. He does. I know just last week, Mark Andrews Zach Ertz got the touchdown in garbage time, but the reality is Mark Andrews has a much higher shot at a touchdown. So, yeah.
Yeah. And just thinking about narrative in this game, obviously the Cowboys aren't good, and Commanders are playing at home. I think this should just be an easy Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler type of game. So I don't see them throwing the ball too much. But hey, we could be absolutely wrong. I am going Mark Andrews though.
Okay. Same. Trade question here from Bakinzi. They would be sending away Chuba to get Kyron, and yeah, I would do that pretty easily. Not anti-Chuba at all, but just more pro Kyron Williams. Also keep in mind, that we haven't seen Jonathan Brooks' role yet either, and how that impacts him. But yeah, sorry. What would you say to this?
No, I agree. I agree. Give me Kyron Williams. That's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
It's also a great time to go buy him, clearly, based off of people's perception of him in the last couple weeks, which is understandable. But if you're heading into the playoffs and you need a upgrade at the running back spot, Kyron's not a bad name to go out there and try and acquire. So I like this a lot.
Yeah, I like it a lot as well.
All right, I think we have one more question to the site. We keep getting people trickling in, which is awesome, guys. We appreciate y'all big time. Again, if you want to prioritize your question to the website, you can check out the pinned comment. We will get to the YouTube chat, obviously, here soon. Big boy Crispy.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
It's a 16.
You started Bo Nix. Yeah. You started Bo Nix, James Conner, Kyron Williams, and you are considering, which you're going to be starting Cooper Kupp. You're starting Justin Jefferson, and then at the flex.
Yeah, this is Sutton for me. I think CD for you. We disagree. Actually, Tyrone might be the safer play.
Tyrone might just be like the middle ground. For us here.
I think Tyrone's your safer floor. I
would
think
agree.
Sutton is your upside, but Tyrone's your safer floor.
I would say if you're going against somebody that has a really strong flex, I would just go with the upside.
Okay.
And I don't know how you feel of the upside, but I feel like CD would be the upside.
Yeah,
but
we've disagreed on that all day, but that's fine. That's not a problem. But I just think Sutton with the streak he and Bo Nix are on right now, I think it's hard to walk away from a heater. But I get it.
I understand.
CD Lamb is CD Lamb. He's still looked great last week. You know,
exactly.
I had a comment on the start sit video, Badaki, someone who said something along the lines of whoever's starting the Rams wide receivers is an idiot or something like that because they're facing the Eagles and the Eagles just shut Terry McLaurin down. I found it to be a little bit silly. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. I mean, very clearly, if you have a number one wide receiver and no clear number two that the defense has to pay attention to, like Washington did, it's going to be easy to play double, triple coverage on him like they did all night. I don't see how you do that versus Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. You can't put three guys on Cooper Kupp and let Puka Nacua eat all night. You just can't do that against the Rams. It's a different story entirely. Would you agree, or are you actually concerned about the Rams? Because I'm not concerned at all about playing them.
No, I mean, I completely agree. I'm not concerned with starting them. I mean, you can look at multiple teams that have one. I mean, you have Malik Nabis, so it has Daniel Jones. He's a rookie. He only had 8 points, but he's the only threat there. So I think it just means that maybe they're not understanding the whole narrative and the whole situation around them. You know, so
I was just shocked that two guys in my top 10 rankings this week, both Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, there was a comment where people were like, no, you can't start them because of the Eagles. But yeah, so we're on the same page there. We're starting those Rams wide receivers.
You know, and I think if you do look at like who they have and who they've played, they've just have played teams that have one starting, like only one wide receiver.
Yeah.
Look throughout, like the Giants, Pittsburgh, and George Pickens. I mean, Detroit is not one. San Francisco, I don't think they had Debo at that time, or maybe they did. Atlanta, technically, with Drake London. Anyways, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with Styles. I was thinking about that comment. I was like, 6 teams on bye right now, and people are not going to play these Rams wide receivers. That's too much for me. Yeah. All right, we've got another trade question here from Memosaurus. Shout out to you.
Boy.
So they would be sending away Kareem Hunt, Chase Brown, Josh Downs, and a 10-team start 7 and getting Breece Hall and Zay Flowers. I personally love this move, and I'll tell you why. I don't think Kareem Hunt is a reliable name when Pacheco is back and himself. That might be a couple weeks from now, but we're already a little bit worried about it. And then if you look at Breece Hall's playoff schedule, it is probably the best playoff schedule for running back, point blank, period. Maybe James Conner, but you've got the Jags in week 1, the Rams in week 16, and the Buffalo Bills in week 17. Those are all very good matchups, especially week 15 and 17. And then you get Zay Flowers, who is pretty much the equivalent of Josh Downs at this point, right? So I think you're just getting the upgrade, the 2-for-1 deal there in a smaller format. I'm definitely team Breece Hall in this one.
Yeah, I'm there with you.
Okay. Appreciate you, me. And we do get another one. Like we're almost about to go to YouTube, and then I love that you guys are showing us so much love on the website today. Appreciate you guys. Again, if you want to prioritize your question, check out the pinned comment in the chat. I'll also put a link in the chat for you here right now. But Javrin 808 and Heartbreaks. Go ahead, take us away.
Yeah, it says, hi, I'm currently 5-6, not too sure who to start on my flex. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Much love. Hey, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. So obviously Josh Allen is on a bye, so you're going to be starting 2 attacks against the Patriots there. Oh, excuse me. 2 attacks against the Patriots. So Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, Devonta Smith, CeeDee Lamb, Sam Laporta. And then in the flex option, you have Waddle, Hunt, Jameson, and Jacoby. I'm just triple checking my rankings here.
Yeah, there's a lot of great options. I think Jameson and Jacoby is where I'm leaning.
Yeah, those are the 2 guys I'm leaning to. I kind of like Jacoby's matchup. Well, no, I don't like Jacoby's matchup. Excuse me. They play the Broncos. Um,
I'll go Jameson there personally versus the Colts. I like that matchup. I think it could be a competitive game.
yeah.
Here's what I'll say. If Pacheco is ruled out, this is easily Kareem Hunt versus the Panthers. But if Pacheco is playing, I would lean Jameson Williams here myself. In a game I really like a high over-under against the Colts. Would you lean Jacoby there?
Nah, I would go Kareem Hunt if there's no Pacheco, and then if not, I'll go J-Mo.
Okay.
Jacoby is just too hard to start with going against Sertan.
Yeah.
At least I'm assuming, unless he's going to be traveling. But
I was gonna say, like, Jacoby plays a lot of his time in the slot, so it might not be that big of a problem. But that defense overall is just very good. I will say I don't love starting Gibbs, Laporta, and Jameson, but if you're gonna start that many players from any team, it better be the Lions, because they don't sit their starters when they're dominating, do they? I mean,
No.
What were they? They were literally bludgeoning the Jaguars.
Dude,
and
I
they were like,
lost
let's keep all those guys in still.
I mean, I probably still would have lost, to be completely honest with you. But, like, they were up by, like, 30 points by halftime already. And I was like, okay, surely they're going to just come out, probably play another drive, maybe score again. But no, they're going into, like, 6 minutes into the fourth quarter, and they're up by, like, 45-plus points.
Yep.
And Amon-Ra scores, like, a third touchdown, and I'm playing against him. What's the point?
Yeah.
I mean, not respectfully, I don't wish this on anything, but, like, just to teach him a lesson, I wish they got a little scared. I wish, like, Amon-Ra got hit so hard that Dan Campbell said, holy shit, what am I doing here? Like, that's stupid. Anyways.
Well, I can't say I wish that, but I just wish overall they would be a little more conscious of, like, their overall goals and aspirations, which is to win a Super Bowl. So if one of these guys goes down and, it's in a pointless game when you're up 40 points, it makes no sense. But anyway.
Surely somebody asked him that. Anyways, appreciate
That's how we'd set your lineup, Javrin. Let's go on to these next questions here. We've got one from on a crew. Baker Mayfield or Jordan Love this week. What are you thinking here? This is a close one, I think, for me.
Yeah, for me, this would be Jordan Love. I think Baker Mayfield in this matchup, my expectation is that they're just going to run the ball against the Giants. Giants, one of the worst run defenses right now in the NFL. I know they're coming off a bye, and so is Baker. They get Mike Evans back. I think Baker does score a touchdown, but I'm just believing in Jordan Love so far for the rest of the season, and he has been pretty good. I mean, last week, 20, I guess, depending on the scoring points that you are in the passing touchdown, he had like over 20-something points.
Yeah.
So I'm okay either way.
I've got these guys back to back. I really don't have a strong opinion. So I'll go Jordan Love with you. Kyron, and then
Justice Hill.
I guess we have to start Justice Hill here. I mean, really, I think that's your only option. You can't start Blake Corum versus the Eagles. So I guess Justice Hill, you got to hope they're down in that game and needing to throw the ball. You got Mike Evans, which is great, Puka, and then at the flex, we're considering Njoku Hopkins. I think Njoku is the safest play, unless the weather is chaos, which it might be.
We're gonna have snow on Thursday night football.
Yeah, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
I would just say I agree. If you're watching the pregame and you have Njoku and you're saying, okay, it's going crazy out there, take him out your lineup. Start DeAndre Hopkins. It's going to be a tough one unless, something changes. So I would agree.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously keep in mind, if you do start Njoku, you'd actually want to put him in the tight end spot and McBride in your flex spot. Because again, we don't believe this will happen, but what if randomly, like Evan Ingram had this year, Trey McBride has a hamstring injury out of nowhere on the weekend? You need that flexibility. So again, we'll start David Njoku unless the weather truly is chaos. Then we'll put DeAndre Hopkins into the lineup. Good luck. You're going to need it with some of these tough starts with like a Justice Hill, but anything is possible, so don't give up. All right, we've got a question here from Daniel007. Dallas Goedert or Zach Ertz? We've answered a similar question on today's video, but I think we're both going Dallas Goedert, right?
Yeah, I'm going Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert.
Goddard, in the 6 games he's been healthy, is averaging over 12 points per game. Zach Ertz has been pretty good, but he's a little bit more touchdown dependent. And look, the reality is whichever of these guys gets a touchdown is probably going to be the better play. That's impossible to predict. But I like the upside of a Rams-Eagles game more than a Commanders-Cowboys game. I don't know. I think the Cowboys can stay competitive, but if you're going to think which of these matchups will be a blowout, it's probably Commanders. They are the second largest favorites of the week. So that's, game script-wise, and anything can happen, but that's why I lean Goddard.
I agree. Go Dallas, Goddard there. Hopefully that helps, Daniel. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the support.
By the way, we had Okenru in the chat, and he said, I'm playing against rank number 1 this week and need a win. I have Estime and Rashawn on the waiver wire. Okay, would you start Estime or Rashawn over Justice Hill? I think that was his options, just quickly before we go on to the next one. I can't start Estime because it's just confusing.
Yeah, exactly. Estime, you just can't. Last week, Estime's going to get more touches, and then he only got 6 opportunities on the ground. Gave us the Ukaduk, so you just can't trust it. I would just maybe just go
Rashawn Johnson is interesting, but it's a terrible matchup versus the Vikings. So I think you've got the best option there in Justice, and you just have to hope that it's a game where it's a negative game script for the Ravens. All right. Next question here is from Dan R. Keed. Says also thoughts on trading Ladd for Rome in Dynasty. It's a Dynasty team, so it's a Dynasty 1 quarterback 10 team start 8. They're starting Kyler Murray, Devon Achane, David Montgomery, Malik Neighbors, Puka Nacua, Trey McBride. And then at the flex spot, I guess you've got options like Ladd, Reed, CD, Jacoby. The Titans are on bye, right?
No, the Titans are not on bye. They play the Texans.
Okay, so Ridley as well. I think CeeDee Lamb is one of my picks here.
I think it's going to be CeeDee and Ladd for me. Ladd going against the Ravens should be a high-scoring game. And I think they give the most points when we look at opposing defenses to wide receivers.
Yeah.
So,
well, this feels like a big moment, no? Because Jaden Reed is an option here, and we're going Ladd. I agree with you.
I didn't even see Jaden Reed. There's so many options there.
Look, I said this on yesterday's stream. I think we need to call a spade with the Packers wide receiver room. It's going to be a different guy every week. Luckily, Jaden Reed got into the end zone last week because he had 2 targets. If you look at the target leader on this team each and every week out of the wide receiver room, it changes all the time from Wicks to Dobbs to Watson to Reed. It's a revolving door, and I just don't want to rely on that if I have other options in great matchups like Ladd McConkey, who should be in a similar game where, against the Bengals we just saw, where a high-scoring game where they need him. So I'll go Ladd here, but does it change your answer to Reed now that he's an option?
Yeah, I would go Reed there. But I wouldn't be upset you starting Ladd. Once again, this also should be a high-scoring game against the 49ers. They play at home. So I'm going to go Reed and go CD.
It's a good team. Would you trade Ladd for Rome Odunze in Dynasty?
I would go Reed in... I would just clarify. I would go Reed and Ladd over CD.
Sit CD. Okay. Well,
yeah, in this scenario.
I would rank them CD, Ladd, and Reed, and you would rank them Reed, Ladd, and CD. So sorry that's confusing, but yeah, for me, I think we saw a safe floor, and if it's going to be Cooper Rush, I'm okay with CD. I just love the matchup with Ladd, but two other options there. Ladd or Rome in Dynasty right now, long term. I love that this is a question. You guys know I love Ladd, the space creator. That's my guy.
Yeah, we like Ladd. We really like Ladd coming in. I don't think there's that big of a difference right now. If you're telling me Ladd's going to be the number 1 with Justin Herbert, I think we've seen Herbert support multiple wide receivers. I think this is the highest. I know Rome has competition with Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. Ladd just seems like the number 1 guy, even if they were to bring in somebody else. I mean, does that change if T. Higgins is on this team? Does that change if they draft a top wide receiver in this draft? Maybe, but
yeah, what's funny is I just updated my Dynasty rankings yesterday, and I want to show you because I wanted to see what did my rankings say. They're literally back to back, 23 and 24.
Yeah.
I have a
think, like,
Dunze ahead of him, but that's probably only because of draft capital. That's probably only because of the top 10 draft capital and the idea that Keenan won't be a part of this team long term.
long term, exactly.
But if I had to say based off
is,
of play and opportunity, it would be Lad pretty easily. So honestly, I think if you're competing, you keep Lad. If you're rebuilding, you trade for a Dunze.
100%. And my biggest thing is, like, which we've said this so many, at least I've said this so many times, when you already have an established wide receiver one on the offense and you draft another wide receiver, you either have to surpass them in talent and in clearly opportunity, and Rome has to do that, and he hasn't done that yet. Can that happen? Absolutely. But he already has DJ Moore. Keenan Allen is going to be gone. The expectation is going to be gone. So, like, that's why I was really hesitant on Jordan Addison, because it was Justin Jefferson. We were hesitant on Devonta Smith after AJ Brown came in. You know, you're hesitant of Jalen Waddle because Tyreek comes in, because they are already superior to them. So I think Lad should be higher than Rome, like, thinking about it now. So I will go Lad.
Yeah, man, I don't have a strong opinion. Like I said, I think if you're competing, you keep Lad. If you're rebuilding, I think I would go out and get Rome and believe in the talent. I still think Rome, like, honestly, swap positions. It's not even, like, I love Vlad McConkey. You guys know this. But if you swap their positions right now, it's not even close. It's Rome Odunze. So he is truly an elite prospect. I just don't think we've seen that really pan out just yet. And to be fair, you should find it comforting that right now, with the Shane Waldron offense, which is gone, he's fired. But you should find it comforting that even DJ Moore was not really working well in that offense. JSN wasn't working well in that offense last year, right? So here's a crazy thought. DK Metcalf is better without Shane Waldron. JSN is better without Shane Waldron. They just fired Shane Waldron. Keenan Allen won't be a part of the team long term. So wouldn't be shocked if it's clearly Rome Odunze in a year's time. But it depends if you're competing. I think you hold on. And if you're rebuilding, I think you go Rome. So tough call. Yeah. All right. I think we have another one. Do we on the website? We have another one from Daniel.
Another one. Appreciate you. Good GG for one more week.
All right, come on.
Hey, I actually don't care. I'm not playing Kareem Hunt this week, so
you need some good juju, man.
I'll send it your way.
He's gonna cast a spell. Alakazam.
Alakazam.
But look, I'll say this: like, if Pacheco's out, then Hunt will be a top 12 running back in my rankings for sure.
So I think he'll still be all right, though. I think even with Pacheco playing, I think Kareem Hunt is going to.
I think he'll be all right. Yeah.
I think he'll be all right. So you're chilling there.
Yeah. Daniel says 5 wins in a row every damn week has been a must win. This is crazy. I love it for you, though. I mean, 5 wins in a row. Congratulations. I know you've been around the channel for a little while, so hopefully you've had a part to play there. All right. I think we are officially out of any website questions. Let me just double check here before we go to YouTube. Yes, we are. Again, if you guys do want to prioritize your question, you can do that through YouTube. Through the Flock Fantasy website. I'll put a link in the chat for you now on the chat section. But let's go to YouTube super chats here.
Thank
and
you
then,
so
of course,
much, guys.
At the end of the stream, like we always do, we'll take some time to answer the normal questions as well. We try and show as much love to everybody. Why don't you answer Michael's question? I just have to pee real quick.
No worries. Go do your thing. Michael, thank you so much for the super chat here on YouTube. He says, should I start or use Roscoe or trade maybe Roscoe with Kelsey or Tracy Kelsey to get Hawkinson, Pollard, or Hawkinson and CMC, trying to get roster depth? Thanks, guys. Okay, so if I'm reading this correctly, should you trade Rashawn Johnson with Travis Kelsey or Tracy and Kelsey to get Hawkinson / Pollard, or Hawkinson and CMC? I would say this: if you can get Hawkinson and CMC, I would do that trade. If you can't do that, then the next option that I would like is actually, if you can't do that, I'm keeping Tracy and Kelsey. Because you said you need depth. That's not necessarily trying to get roster depth. You're not really getting roster depth there if you're sending away Rashawn Johnson and Tyrone Tracy and Kelsey, right? You're just doing a 2 for 2. or 3 for 2. So I will only do the Hawkinson and CMC, and if not, I'm keeping Tracy and Kelsey there. Brad is next here.
Appreciate
Just
you,
bench.
Michael.
Okay. Bench one: Lamb, Reed, Pickens, Metcalf, Ladd. For me, if the weather is a problem, I'm benching Pickens. And then if it's not a problem,
Ladd.
I will be benching Ladd.
Actually, Reed for me. Sorry, Reed would be my bench.
Sure.
Yeah. Honestly, the weather would have to be pretty bad for me to bench Pickens for Reed. And it's no disrespect to Reed. It's just, again, if you
Sure.
look at the last, since week 5, it's been a different Packer every week at wide receiver. It's just, there's less consistency there. And Pickens, man, this is what I thought he could be. All right, who out there has been a George Pickens lover like me? How awesome is this? Okay, this is so fun to watch George Pickens with a quarterback like Russell Wilson. I take back everything I said about them making the change from Justin Fields. I'm an idiot. Yeah, I'd bench Jaden Reed for sure, unless the weather is literally bonkers for George Pickens.
Brad.
Yes, Brad, go ahead.
Thank you so much. It says, which two do I start? Need one wide receiver in a flex. Ladd, Tracy, D-Hop, or DJ Moore versus Minnesota. Oh boy.
Yeah, this is Tracy and Ladd.
The wide
for me.
receivers. This would be the wide receiver. This would be Ladd and DJ Moore for me.
Okay.
I love Tracy, and look, if you want the safer floor, Tracy does have the safer floor. The higher upside is with DJ Moore against Minnesota. A divisional game should be either a high scoring game or just should be a good game, to be honest with you. So I would go DJ and Ladd, but love Tracy this week.
Love
as well.
DJ as well this week. I love the matchup. He's on my stars video, but if I had options like this, I would have to pivot that other way. Tracy, I just think, is a much safer play than DJ Moore, and I still think Tracy retains upside as well. And Rashad for me,
Yeah.
right?
I would. Yeah, Rashad and Jacoby. I mean, I feel like I would rather take a risk of D-Hop just having like a deep touchdown pass down the field than Jacoby going
up after the recent usage and Juju coming back, and
I don't think Juju's going to be that big of an impact. Maybe I'm wrong.
He was just as big of an impact as D-Hop last game, though.
Yeah, I know.
What D-Hop had 3 catches last game. Juju had one
catch. Yeah.
But
it's tough. It's a tough one. I don't like either of them, to be completely honest. I would just go with the person that has the easier matchup.
Sure.
And maybe that is the wrong way to think about it, but that's how I feel.
I think in an ideal world, if weather's fine, Cedric and Rashad. If weather isn't fine, it would be Jacoby and Rashad for me. We saw Jacoby get 12 points, I think, versus Denver earlier this year. So, yeah. Max. From Mexico.
Not in Mexico, full PPR. And by the way, if you got anyone that's in Cleveland, it's there in Cleveland, right? Do we got some local people in Cleveland? Let us know. Huh?
Yeah. If we've got any live correspondents in Cleveland, what's the weather going to be like tomorrow? Let us know. What are the local news channels saying? They might be a little more 100%. In tune.
Is it going to snow throughout the day, but should be cleared? The snow should be passed by maybe 6 o'clock. Sure. Let's start all of the Browns Pittsburgh players. Well, obviously the ones that are fantasy relevant. Anyways, Trigger Trey is next. Shout out to Trigger Trey.
Wait, we didn't even answer his question, bro.
Holy shit, we didn't answer Max.
We didn't even get to answering it.
I'm so sorry. Full PPR, one wide receiver in the flex, JSN, McConkey, Stevenson, Chuba. This is McConkey here, and I would be going.
It's both the wide receivers for me. It's McConkey and Jason.
Yeah, Jackson still did really well, even with DK being there.
Now, game script was perfect because they needed to throw the ball. But
exactly.
I don't love Chuba this week versus the Chiefs. It's the toughest matchup in fantasy football. If Brooks is going to be relevant, it means he might take some opportunities, even if that's 15%. And a Chiefs matchup, I still think you can. I still think you can play him, but I would rather play Jason and McConkey.
I would agree.
We do have a question through the site, by the way. I just want to get there whenever you're done with whatever other thoughts we have on this one.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay, cool.
Let's go to the site here. The first one I can see here is Slush Monkey.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for submitting the Star City question. At the quarterback position, you're considering Bo Nix and Baker Mayfield. Gosh,
I'll go brother Bo,
Shout
but I love
hey.
Baker this week.
shout out to Bo Nix.
Come on, baby. Let's take a victory
Talk
lap.
it
Is it
up.
time? Can we take a victory lap yet?
I mean, I feel like we kind of can. I mean, he's a top 7 quarterback in fantasy right now. I mean, this guy's leading this team,
And he looks good.
Yeah,
And like
this is with minimal talent. This is with Cortland Sutton on his team.
I feel like you can't even be like, well, he's just a rushing quarterback. Like, no, the guy has 0 rushing yards and 0 touchdowns in the last 2 games. Like, come on, the guy's playing well. He was so good versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I think we can finally take a victory lap, all right? I mean, the amount of hate you and I got for how high we had Bo Nix in Dynasty rookie drafts this year.
I have so much Bo Nix in Dynasty.
We were shocked by how much hate we got. And, yeah, so I think vindication feels a little bit. But, of course, I mean, he could still go in the shitter, but he looks pretty damn good, man. He looks pretty damn good. So
I mean, 100%.
the Dynasty community, bro, is like so opinionated. It's so hard. I love the Dynasty community, but I always hate going from the redraft focus to Dynasty just because I love Dynasty, but I hate it because the comments are so different. Like, no one is open to a different opinion on Dynasty, whereas in redraft, it's like, okay, I hear you. I don't agree, but I hear you. Like, this is fun. Let's have a back and forth.
Yeah.
Dynasty's like, you're an idiot. You're actually stupid because you like Bo Nix.
Wrong.
It's like, fuck. All right, jeez.
It's like, damn, like, am I doing my job wrong, or like, it makes me second guess. It's like, surely. Anyways, but I've learned my lesson from that before in the past, and
yeah. Anyway,
I got fucked over with CJ.
Watch Bo Nix just be terrible from now onwards. But anyway, starting right? Bo Stevenson. I guess Brooks
Bo
is
Stevenson.
His best option. Wow.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, are you starting Jonathan Brooks? Or are you picking up someone off the waiver wires? Are you picking up a Justice Hill if he's available? Maybe in this is a 10-man league, so maybe is there Jaylen Warren available?
I'll tell you, everybody I would start over Jonathan Brooks. Are you ready for this?
Go ahead.
Zach Charbonnet, Trey Benson, Jalen Wright, Raheem Mostert, Rashawn Johnson, Alexander Madison, Gus Edwards, Jerome Ford, Justice Hill, Audric Estime, Tajay Spears is probably not going to play, Jaylen Warren, Pacheco, Hunt, Chubb, Eckler, Dowdle, Javonte.
There you go.
Long list. Swift.
We would recommend.
White.
We would recommend Slush Monkey in the 10-man league. If one of those guys are available that Zach just named, you should pick him up and start him. Even if Jonathan Brooks does say, hey, Jonathan Brooks is ready, he's full ready to go and play. You don't know what his usage is going to be. He's coming off an ACL tear. He was supposed to be ready in week 5, and my guy is starting in week 12.
And it's the worst matchup in fantasy. So Chuba might bust himself. Okay, so Marvin, Devonta, Trey McBride, and Nico Collins. This is a great lineup, though. I mean, honestly, your lineup is so strong that you can afford to have a little dinger at RB2 this week. That's a real strong lineup.
Sure. Yeah, I can understand that. Appreciate
what
you.
You might want to look to do after the bye week, if this is truly your best options. I imagine. Oh wait, you have Breece Hall. But what you might want to try and do is package like Ramondre and Devonta, and get a better RB2 because you'll be playing London anyway. Okay, on to the next one.
Manny, with a trade question. They received Jaden. They are sending away Jaylen Warren and Jaden Reed for Chase Brown downtown. This is a 14-man league. It just depends on if you need a running back. And looking at your lineup here, you have Jordan Love, Saquon Barkley, Devon Achane. You have AJ Brown, Deebo Samuel with this is a start 7 with Mike Evans. You need the depth at the running back if Saquon or Devon goes down, so I'm okay with this. I mean, you're probably not going to be starting Jaden Reed over AJ Brown, Deebo Samuel, or Mike Evans, or maybe you will.
Yeah, I like this a lot. Yesterday we had like a 1-for-1 deal, and I was Team Chase Brown. Even if you add Jaylen Warren to this deal in a start 7, I'm still Chase Brown Because like Badaki said, like ultimately, if Saquon or Devon goes down and you have to rely on Warren, your championship is shot. But if you have to rely on Chase, you're fine. In a start 7, you're starting Love, Saquon, Achane, A.J. Brown, Evans. And then at the flex spot, you can make an argument right now that you might start Chase Brown over Deebo Samuel if he keeps shitting the bed. So, yeah, I like this move.
I'm okay with that move, Manny. Appreciate it. What I would do, I would just switch Debo because I like Jaden Reed long term, but I can understand if Zach doesn't like that. Maybe that's my bias. But if you can do Jalen Warren, and Deebo Samuel, and still get Chase Brown, let's try that. But if not, I'm happy to still do this trade.
They both have really fun schedules, rest of season, playoffs. I just prefer Deebo, but I get that. I definitely understand both sides.
Our next question here is from Mamba Disciples, and he put his whole team here. He's trying to get every single last letter in this, because obviously when you do spaces, I think you have to like do a certain thing.
Okay.
He has Hurts, Saquon, White, McConkey, McBride, Jennings, Chubb,
Hunter
Henry, Baker, Pollard, and
I'm
Reed.
surprised we didn't save space with the and symbol. We spelt out and.
Yeah.
A and D.
Yeah. A and D.
Should I do it? Okay, so basically they would send away Reed to get Pacheco. This is too far for me. I need to see if I can rely on Pacheco first. You know, like at this point, I think rest of the season I'm still betting on Reed as a flex over a Pacheco. Their running backs, though, you know what's funny though, Mama Disciples, is if you link your team, we can actually see your team, so you don't have to put all that context there. Just so you guys know, if you go to the My Teams feature and you click Add New and you link up your team here, when you go to ask a start sit question, it'll automatically link your settings, and or even a trade question, same thing, and we'll be able to see both your team in its entirety and your opponent's team, but that's okay. So just for next time, just so you know. But
appreciate you guys.
What do you think?
Yeah, I know. I will keep Jaden Reed, and it's kind of exactly what you said. You just can't trust Pacheco. You don't know what that's going to look like. And one of the things you've kind of been saying all season, Tony Pollard took him a whole season last year to get over that leg injury, and he had a similar injury to Isaiah Pacheco, and he wasn't the same last year. Looks a lot better this year. Not saying that's going to happen with Pacheco, but what if it's 50-50 rest of the season? You just don't know.
You don't. I'd rather go get a Rachaad White, Brian Robinson, a Aaron Jones, Tracy. I'd rather get these names, Chuba, instead, rest of the season. It's just not, the line is just too far away, I think, Mamba. Appreciate the question. Shady here says, drop anyone for Rashawn or Javonte. We're 6-5. So they would start Jalen Hurts this week, and at quarterback 2 between A-Rich and Tua. I think I'm still going Tua myself.
Agreed.
I think we need another week from Anthony Richardson, and this is a bad matchup against the Lions. At running back, I'm going to put Kyron Williams in there.
Agreed.
We've got Nico. We've got Tyreek. At the flex spot, I'm going to go Jawan Jennings is my first preference, and then Lad McConkey is my last preference there.
Yeah, it would be Jaden Reed for me. I would say this 10-man league.
Would you drop anyone for Rashawn or Javonte? I wouldn't, no.
No, I wouldn't. You're 6-5.
No, I just don't think at what point in the playoffs are you going to start Javonte with confidence?
Well, at what point in the playoffs are you going to start? At what point in the playoffs are you going to start Jonathan Brooks with confidence? Even if Jonathan Brooks, and this is why I'm bringing this up, because yes, do we want Jonathan Brooks as a talent over Javonte? Sure. Is Jonathan Brooks going to be enough for us if one of these guys goes down? We would say, even if Jonathan Brooks had 10 points the next 2 games going into week 14, I think we would still start Javonte Williams over him.
Not if this week Javonte has 3 touches. This is the problem. look at Javante's entire season. He does good. He's irrelevant. He does good. He's irrelevant. Then Estime, they say Estime is going to be the number one, and Estime gets 16 touches. And next week, Estime is irrelevant. This week, it's Jaleel. We'll put Tyler Bidet in there. It's like there's just no consistency, you know? So if Jonathan Brooks comes out and has 10 points this week, I think we would both have him pretty comfortably over Javonte Williams.
Yeah, look, it definitely makes sense. If Javonte is available, then clearly no one's picking him up. So I think you have time to wait.
Yeah,
and if you are concerned, then I would trade for another running back. If you are concerned, and this is your trade deadline's happening right now, see if you can send Chris Olave, which I doubt you can for anyone, or Cedric Tillman for somebody. I mean, you have Jawan Jennings and Lam McConkey right now. I'm happy to send Cedric Tillman. Over. Yeah, fair.
Look, if I had to start someone this week, it would be Jonathan Brooks, or it would be Javonte Williams over Jonathan Brooks. But even if I pick up Javonte Williams and I get an injury to Kyron or Ken, I'm still playing Ramondre Stevenson over him. I'd rather just see what Jonathan Brooks could be in a couple weeks. But
that's actually so fair. You do have Ramondre Stevenson. So you're right. Like, it does make sense. There's no point of dropping anyone here for one of those guys because you do have Stevenson. Just got lost in the shuffle there.
Lost in the sauce, man.
I think you're chilling. You don't have to worry about picking anyone up at all, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah. All right. We have no more questions on the website. Of course, if you guys want to prioritize your questions, you can through the website. I'll put a link in the chat. But we are going to go back to YouTube.
Yeah. Trigger Trey. Appreciate you, man. He said question below. I got to open it up on here. Okay. He says full PPR, 6-point passing touchdowns. Bo Nix or Justin Herbert. I would go Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Alton or Hawkinson. I would go Cade Alton.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Let's see here. I would go Hawkinson. It's close.
Okay. And need a RB2, wide RB2, and a flex. So you need 3 players, one running back, and then whatever the case may be. So your 100% running back will most likely be Jonathan Taylor. And then I would start Jennings and DJ Moore.
Okay, yeah.
And we had a similar question last time.
Yeah,
and I think we did. Tracy.
For me, it would be Tracy over DJ Moore. I love DJ Moore. I love his matchup, but I think Tracy is just your safer play, and he still has upside. So, yeah,
that's fair.
So again, very close for both of us, but for me, it's Nix, it's Hawkinson, and it is Tracy, JT, Jennings. The only change for Badaki is he would start Alton and he would start DJ Moore. Appreciate you, exactly. Trigger Trey. Brent says, traded Daniels, Harrison, and JJ for Chase and Burrow. I have Nix and Herbert. Wide receivers are Pickens and Evans. Thoughts on the trade? Also, Nix or Herbert. If it's a one-quarterback league, I'm not in love with it, to be honest, because I don't love the idea of trading for a quarterback in a one-quarterback league, especially when you already have great names like Bo Nix and Herbert available to you, and Bo Nix rest of the season schedule is so nice. So yeah, again, if it's a one quarterback league, I would rather have the Jefferson, Harrison, Daniels side. But yeah, actually, I just think in a vacuum, I just prefer that side.
I just prefer that side. I mean, Jefferson is huge, and having Daniels and Jefferson and getting a third piece with Harrison, I would just keep that side as well.
If we took the quarterbacks out of it, would you send Harrison and JJ for Chase? Probably not, right? Like, that's too high of a tier. It would have to be like a JJ and a Downs, or like a JJ and a Jacoby. Like, Harrison, I think, is just too high of a tier to send in a 2-for-1 type of package. But
yeah, I think like if this is a start 7, I'm okay with getting. If this is a start 7, I'm okay with getting the stack in Chase.
Yeah,
and
like if you make it like a 8-team start 7, I think. That could change
like
it,
I think the 1,000% makes sense. But if this is a bigger squad, it means start 9, start 10. I think getting Harrison is just as important as having that stack and Chase and Burrow on a team. And he says you have Nico, your wide receivers are Nico and Pickens and Evans. So In reality, if this is a star 7, you're probably starting, and you do this trade, you have Chase and Evans, and then you're starting Nico, or Chase and Nico, and you're starting Evans at the flex in a star 7. But if this is a star 10, you don't have Justin Jefferson and Harris, and you're starting Nico and Evans. You're starting Nico and Chase. Well, actually, it's still good in the star 7, in the star 10, if you think about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think in a deeper league, I still want that other side.
Like you still want the other side, but I think if you have Nico and Pickens and Evans and you trade them away, it's like, oh, it's not that big of a deal then.
Sure.
Unless one of those guys goes down. Anyways,
Knicks or Herbert this week? I'll go Bo Nix.
Yeah, we said Bo Nix. Brandon, thank you so much. He says flex Dowdle, Pop Douglas, or Worthy. Dude, Worthy, just field awareness, brother. Field awareness.
Dude, don't.
One-on-one.
Bro,
come on.
There is not a receiver in the NFL that has worse sideline awareness or boundary awareness than Xavier Worthy. And it's weird because, like, you didn't really see that on film out of Texas. Like, there was definitely some concerns. But those were not, like, boundary awareness issues. I guess, like, they really never put him in those positions, but
yeah, he was always like getting screens
bad.
And running in the middle of the field.
Bad.
I mean, sometimes he went down the field. This is between Xavier Worthy and Pop Douglas for me.
So you're starting Dowdle? Because you have to. Okay, sorry. It's not flex 2. Okay, my bad. You pick one. Go ahead.
Yeah, pick one. I'm just gonna go with Pop Douglas. I think he's needed in this offense against Miami Dolphins. Xavier Worthy probably not going to be getting any type of opportunity against the Carolina Panthers.
I will go Pop Douglas. Yeah, that's tough, Brandon. That is real tough. I'll go Pop Douglas. Beastman. Go ahead.
Yeah, 10 team. Got Achane, Kyron, Dobbs, Devontae, Hill, BJ, Brian Thomas Jr., Waddle as my wide receivers, and Rice Core. An RB Core, excuse me.
How did you read Rice?
Rice Core. I don't know. Feeling like my wide receivers are met. What do you guys recommend? Should I move Kyron?
Terrible time to move Kyron. Let's start there.
Yeah.
Really bad time to move Kyron. That should have been multiple weeks ago if you wanted to do that. I think you need to hold now. But
so you have Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, Brian Thomas, and Waddle. So you have both of the Dolphins wide receivers. Brian Thomas was on a bye, and Devontae Adams was on a bye.
Well, here's the problem though. Like you have players on bye, and you have nobody that you can sell high.
Nobody.
You cannot sell high on Devontae Adams. You cannot sell high on Tyreek Hill. You can't sell high on Waddle or Brian Thomas. So as much as I definitely feel like I feel where you're coming from, but what are you gonna do? Like sell Devontae Adams for Jacoby Myers? No, you're just gonna keep Devontae Adams. Like you're gonna trade Tyreek Hill for, I don't know. Like I trade Tyreek Hill for Malik Neighbors. But still, I don't think you can sell high on any of these players. I really don't. I think you have to hold and believe for better performances. I'll say this: if I can sell Brian Thomas, I'm interested in that. But what if Trevor Lawrence comes back? I mean, that could change things for Brian Thomas. So is it even worth selling him? Like you're going to sell him low right now if Trevor Lawrence does come back.
Yeah, for a while. Look, it's unfortunate, and you're probably asking these questions because you are on a bye. Maybe you do need a win. Even if you do need a win, I'm not sure you're going to give up one of your best players and not get enough in return. So you're just in a hard spot right now. Yeah. Unless you can find somebody that is valuing Kyron the way we do. I mean, you really have to break it down for these people. Like Kyron Williams is a top 10 running back who, that was his first game under double-digit points. Get over it. Yeah. You know, he's still going to be this guy that's going to probably win that playoff push. But what can you get in return? That's the best way. The only way you should be doing this trade is if you can get the exact value that you can for Kyron. If not, and you do need to win, it's just really unfortunate. I'm not necessarily sure tell you
I mean,
to
can
do
you
that
turn
trade
Devontae
regardless.
Adams into George Pickens? Can you turn Devontae Adams into Terry McLaurin, CeeDee Lamb, DK, T. Higgins? If you can't, then you have to hold. T. Higgins
Yeah.
I'll buy anyway. So, Michael.
Michael, appreciate you. He says, "Will CMC be RB1 or RB2 in 2025?"
A RB1 as in like top 12 or top 24. I think he'll be in RB1, a top 12 name.
Yeah, I think he would be in RB1 as well. Now, do I think he'll be the 101?
No way.
I would say
He won't.
I would say it depends on if he finishes strong. If he finishes the last 7 games hypothetically averaging 23 points per game, which I doubt, I think people will make the argument for.
I just don't see it because we already saw the worst case scenario this year. I think there will be so many people who are like, remember, when they've done this before in the past, but he was younger. Remember, like he screwed people over before in the past. This time he did it in 9 weeks, and people refused to draft him previously. But now he will have this recent hurt in people's minds. So I think he'll be a first-round pick. I don't think he'll be the 101 conversation, though.
Fair.
But May or Knicks in 2025, I'll go May still. I still think May's like a better prospect overall, and neither really have much help. Well. But yeah,
he's been doing doing the best he can with what he has.
Oh yeah, he's turning lemons into lemonade weekly. The guy's got a lemonade stand. You ever have a lemonade stand?
Nah, man. Wasn't privileged enough.
You weren't privileged enough to have water and lemons.
And that's how poor I was.
No, he wasn't. All right.
I didn't even have. Someone said I didn't even have water.
You had water. Wake up.
Oh boy.
All right. Well, those are all the super chats. Those are all the questions through the site. We appreciate y'all for being here with us. What we'll do to end the stream, unless there are any super chats or questions through the site, we'll answer 5 questions at random. All right, 5 questions at random. We appreciate y'all for being here with us. All right, so 5 questions at random, and I always like to find people who we haven't heard from yet. For example, That Games. I've never heard from this person before. Good evening. All right, so they're starting off very pleasant. Good evening. Should I start Elijah, Tank, or Jameson for wide receiver 2? I think this would be Jameson Williams for me. I like the over-under in the Colts-Lions. I think it's over 50 points, one of the highest on the week. Elijah Moore would be an option, but the weather is bad, and there's 3 names they could target there. And a low over-under, it's J-Mo for me here as a wide receiver 2. And he is boom bust, you have to recognize that, but, who isn't in this list?
Sure. I would be going Jameson as well.
Okay.
I will go Jameson as well.
Tank Dell.
Don't say Tank. I almost said Elijah Moore. No.
Bro, Tank Dell is just, it's sad what's happening. That's 1 out of 5, isn't it?
1 out of 5.
Styles are funny. I kind of agree, WG. All right, 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5 here. What's up, Brizzleton? By the way, welcome in, my man. All right,
how you doing, man?
2 out of 5. Let's go Infinite Pilot Pro. And they say, should I trade AJ Brown for another top receiver? I was listening to the Footballers today, and they had some pretty cool info on their show. One of the things they mentioned is that the Eagles have the lowest pass over expectation rate, meaning they're throwing the ball not a lot, based off expectations. They are not throwing the ball around, probably why A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith have been disappointing lately. I'd say if you can turn A.J. Brown into a Nico Collins, I would do that. If you can turn A.J. Brown into a Justin Jefferson, I would do that. If you can turn him into, I feel like that's kind of the lane for me. Otherwise, I hold. I think he's in the same tier as an Amon-Ra, Kupp, Puka, Neighbors. But I would hold outside of those names.
I agree.
All right, that's 2 out of 5. 3 out of 5. Let's go to one of our moderators here, longtime supporter Style. Says, what's your guys' opinions on Sam Darnold in Dynasty? I think this could be the Baker Mayfield's route. But I don't think Minnesota his final stop.
Nah, he's going back to New York with the New York Football Giants.
Well, the thing is, the good thing for Sam Darnold, if you own him in Dynasty, is it is not a good quarterback class.
Nah, and there's going to be jobs.
There will be jobs, exactly. So
no question.
Let's look across the league. Does Carolina bring him back? Oh God, probably not. Does Cleveland sign him? Does he go to the Raiders? Yeah, that's another great one. That can make sense.
I mean, does he go back to the Jets?
The Jets? Yeah. I mean, that's funny. These guys are still having quarterback problems. Does he go to Seattle and compete with Geno? Tennessee.
Sure,
Tennessee, he would be a huge upgrade in Tennessee. Like you said, Giants, but...
Look, I'm a Giants fan, so as you know, I've been listening. If basically what I've been saying is like if the Giants aren't happy with this quarterback class and they don't draft a quarterback, I'll be okay. Give us a bridging quarterback, get Sam Darnold, get somebody that is just going to be better. Hell, if Tommy DeVito plays a little bit better the next 7 games, I'll be okay with it. And it's not like he's going to a bad team or bad talent. I mean, yes, let me rephrase that. He has supporting cast around him. That's good. Malik Neighbors and Tyrone Tracy. And what if they do draft somebody good, another wide receiver in the draft, or they go pay big money for somebody else? So I think there's some opportunity.
Get a shot. I think honestly he's playing for a job right now because the way he started off was great, but he has really started to take a turn with his play. So he is literally playing for a job right now, rest of season. If he shits the bed, he will not have another job, but he has a chance to play himself into a job. So, I mean, he's kind of valued like a late second right now, and he's worth holding just to see what he could be. I mean, imagine he does sign in New York with a 3-year deal or something, or it's the Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield route. But I think overall, Badaki and I would both agree that there's a lot of ambiguity. Is that the right word? But a lot of unknowns. All right, that is 3 out of 5. Random questions. LeBron motherfucking James is in the chat. LeBron James. Golf or Knicks? We're both going to go Knicks this week. And Joker or Otten, I'd go Otten. And then Marv or Pickens. I'll go Pickens if the weather is fine. If it's not, you go Marv. Appreciate you, LeBron James. That is 4 out of 5, right? Styles, LeBron, WG, that games. I thought Braun took a social media break. All right, last one for the day. All right, look, we'll go Mark here. I'll be honest with you, Mark, though. Just for future references, when we get to this portion of the stream, we try to avoid people who are like spamming their questions. Just so you know that, okay? I'll get to your question. Clearly, you've been waiting a while, but just so you guys know, when we get to this portion of the stream where we kind of make it a free for all, we do avoid the spammers because it's just frustrating, quite frankly. But the question is, Nico, Debo, Ridley, Worthy. What's the question? Should I trade Cook for London? Well, then you're stuck with Dobbins and Javonte. I love the idea of getting London, but I don't like relying on Dobbins and Javonte rest of the season. So I'd say no, but I think London has more value, but it makes your team worse. But to be honest, like, London's a huge upgrade over Ridley and Debo anyway. So, yeah, I would take the deal. And then what I would try to do is I would try to package Dobbins and Ridley or Dobbins and Debo for something. So, all right. That's it for today, guys. We do appreciate y'all. Can't answer everybody's questions. We always do our best, obviously. But if you do need something answered, our website is always available. What is up, TD? Welcome, brother. Welcome in the chat.
How you doing, brother?
It's good to see you. But yeah, we appreciate you guys. Yeah, again, any questions through the website, you know, we will get to. We'll be live tomorrow night as well before the game, so we'll see you guys then. One thing that we haven't talked about on today's stream, and this is really probably more exciting for our Dynasty community, but if you guys don't know, we did we did just release the playbook, both for Dynasty and redraft teams. So if you want your playbook, very simple. All you got to do is go through the Flock Fantasy website, okay, and purchase a team review. From now until Black Friday, Anybody who purchased a team review, no matter what the price, you will get a playbook along with your team review. We'll do your team live, and then we'll send you a playbook within 48 hours in the DMs. But this is an awesome feature that Padaki's been working on the back end. We're very proud to be able to offer it now. Very excited about the feedback we've gotten so far. So again, if you want your playbook, go to the Flock Fantasy site, get a team review, and you'll get one automatically. The only other way to get one is by becoming a yearly member on the Flock Fantasy website, okay? So again, you can become a yearly Mother Flocker member on the Flock site and get a free playbook that also lets you keep your membership for an entire year. So best bang for your buck. But that is it for today. We appreciate you guys big time. We'll see you tomorrow, and have a good night. All love.
Love.